What's going on, guys? It's your boy Lou Betya coming back with props to consider and maybe bet episode 2 for UFC London. Before I get to the props, I just want to say that it seemed like doing this shorter clip prop show really did well last week. You guys liked the format, so I'm going to drop one of these every Thursday around this time every week, around noon East EST. As far as the bet elevator, it's going to come back for bigger events. It is an MMA Engine original, so I'm happy to keep that for some bigger events. But for now, I do like these short clip prop shows. I don't want to waste your time. We don't waste mine. And let's move on. Kind of an interesting card, big chalk. So finding these plus odds props is a little tricky, but found 7 that I navigated through this card that I think you guys are going to like. Actually, you probably like 5 of them, and then the other 2 you'll think I'm insane, but that's how this prop game goes. So I'm going to start right at the main event. Curtis Blaydes against Tom Aspinall. I'm worried about this one. I do feel like a lot of the winning conditions favor Blaydes. I feel like the longer the fight goes, it favors Blaydes. But I can't get the sneaking suspicion that Aspinall isn't going to come out. He can keep the feet stand. He can keep the fight standing. If this stays on the feet, I realize that Blaydes has only been knocked out by the best of the best in the division, but Aspinall is just a one of a kind talent, and he's huge, and his power is unbelievable. So I think after kind of a back and forth first round, I like Aspinall to get him out of there. Round 2 KO. I think he's going to crack that chin. I think he's going to put Blaydes down. And if he does hurt him and he has to swarm on the ground as opposed to another fight we will get to, I'm not worried about Aspinall getting caught. I think he has good top control. So Aspinall round 2 KO. It is plus 1,000 on FanDuel. My book has it at plus 950, but FanDuel at plus 1,000. I think you're getting great odds for a guy that's never been, that far into his career. He's never really gone past the 10-minute mark. So give me Aspinall round 2 KO at 10-1. And let's move on to the co-main event. And this is another one that I'm a little nervous about, but Chris Curtis and Jack Hermansson. So, I understand that Curtis takes the fight on short notice, but isn't that what the action man does? Does that really matter here? Like, I don't think it does. Hermansson's not like a huge volume guy. I know there's a narrative that Strickland's in Curtis's corner and he beat Hermansson, but the way Strickland fought was pretty low volume. And Hermansson also, like I said, he's not a very high volume pressure guy. I want to talk about the takedown defense of Curtis if I can. So everybody's really impressed with the takedown defense he had against Vieira. And I agree. Took him, I think it was 22 times he stopped takedowns, which is amazing. The problem is Hermansson has better cardio. He's not going to be shooting from 20 feet away from it when he's tired. But I still trust Curtis to keep it on the feet. And if he does, the technique's good, the power's good, and I think he can get Hermansson out of there. And I don't want to have a pattern here with the round 2 KOs, but round 2 knockout for Chris Curtis is sitting at plus 950, as you see here on FanDuel, plus 900 on a lot of their books. I like it a lot. I think it's only a matter of time before Curtis touches the chin. I think the body work could add up to here, but I think he's going to wear down Hermansson. I think he's going to tag him near the end of the first round, and it's only a matter of time before he cracks that chin and really gets him out of there, makes a statement in the second round with a KO. So we're going to move on to one of my more controversial picks here, and that is Paddy the Baddy against Jordan Levitt. Now, a lot of these bets feel trappish. One of the consensus in the community is there's a lot of people on this fight goes the distance at over plus 200 odds, and I like that a lot. I do feel like Pimblett, where we saw a round 1 knockout, we saw a submission against Vargas, but he's facing guys that are kind of limited in their skill sets. Now, for me, Jordan Levitt is a guy that where I may question his cardio a little bit, and I definitely question his striking. The guy fights very intelligently. He stays out of trouble. He knows how to kind of make these fights ugly and stylistically that favor him. So We've seen Paddy taken down. I mean, Vargas took him down. I think Levitt can get him down. Levitt can't put him away here, I don't believe. I know there's the whole narrative that whoever he is on BetMMA Tips put the round 1 sub in. I don't see that. If this fight is a 15-minute fight on the feet, I clearly favor Pimblett, but I think this just becomes an ugly grappling fest. I think it gets really greasy, and I've seen some people taking Levitt by decision, and I understand it, but really, I don't know how he wins a decision here. If I'm playing the narrative angle, if I'm playing the crowd angle, I just don't see it. And Levitt really doesn't do enough on his own to warrant it unless he has like 14 minutes of control time. So I think this goes the distance. I think Paddy gets it done. But I found a prop on Betway I thought was kind of interesting, and that is Paddy Pimblett to win by split decision at plus 1,200. Will you be clenching your butthole for 15 minutes, worrying about it? Probably. But if this thing goes to decision, I got to favor Pimblett more often than not. Like I said, unless it's so clear-cut for Levitt, I got to think it's going to Pimblett. But I really think Levitt can make this. He can make every single round, especially the first 2. He can make them really hard to judge with how he can control somebody and his low output. So I'm going to take a flyer on Pimblett split decision. I like Pimblett decision also, but split decision at plus 1,200 is just kind of it's an interesting look for me. And I got to be honest, it's a huge flyer, but I can't help but feel we're going to get some really weird result here. So let's move on to the 4th fight I targeted, Paul Craig against Volkan Ozdemir. Paul Craig's been very good to me over the last couple of years, except for the Jamal Hill fight where I foolishly bet against him. I think we know how Paul Craig fights go at this point. His takedown accuracy is not great. I know Volkan Ozdemir's takedown defense traditionally is very good. It's around 80%. But if you dig a little deeper, Ozdemir has 1 KO win in the last 5 years. Granted, it was against Ilir Latifi, who's not an easy guy to KO, but he's also, he's there to be hit. So it's not that I question the power of Volkan Ozdemir, and I don't question his fight IQ. I mean, we're seeing guys that bonk Craig and run to the ground. That's how they get caught. What I do question is he's kind of low volume. He's a little too patient for me. I know Craig is the kind of guy that usually brings the fight to you, but for how hittable he is, I could see this being a little bit of a slow start. And eventually, Craig's going to close the distance. He's going to either go for a takedown and get it. He's going to get caught coming in. He may get tired pursuing takedowns in the first round and eventually get caught. But I just have this feeling that Ozdemir, no matter how well he fights, these guys can't resist it. You bonk them, you go for the finish, you swarm on the ground. I mean, Paul Craig, I always joke, Paul Craig's 8-2 in fights that he's lost. Even if the guy's unconscious, he finds these ways to wrap subs up. And maybe this is a soccer bet, but I can't go against Paul Craig here. I know this is going to sound like a really stupid way to analyze a fight. I'd rather bet Paul Craig and lose the bet than bet against him, and then he gets the submission, and I feel like an idiot for not taking it. So I don't love this play, but I just feel like I have to play Paul Craig sub here. I'm playing him round 2 sub. This is a numbers play for me. Could he get a round 1 sub? Of course he could. But the way Ozdemir fights, that he takes his time. I mean, even against Ankalaev, who I understand that's different stylistically, but he is patient. He doesn't rush in and just try to get you out of there in the first minute. If it's there, he takes it. But he's pretty patient. So I could see the first round kind of being a little more of a feeling out process. Maybe Ozdemir 2-3 minutes in, starts landing. Could Craig hang on? I think he could, but I do think he gets that sub in round 2. It's plus 850 on BetMGM. It's about plus 800 everywhere else. Let's take a look at the board here. I looked at this earlier. Paul Craig, round 2 submission. Plus 800 on FanDuel, plus 750 elsewhere. Like I said, BetMGM has it at plus 850. Yeah, it's another one of these fights where you're just very worried about getting out of the first round. But and I can, if you have Ozimir KO, I understand it. But for me, I just got to stick with Paul Craig here. Keep the fairy tale run going, and we'll see who he's got next. But we are going to move on to Jonathan Pierce against Mr. Finland, the best picture in Tapology, Mack Amirkhani. It seems like this is a pretty binary fight. It seems like Amirkhani early or Pierce in the second or third rounds. I don't think so, to me, to be honest. I think Amirkhani, this price is weird. I think it's not lined correctly for me. Amirkhani is very limited. His cardio is limited. He's coming off, I believe it's the 7th fight in UFC history where no strikes were landed. And he wrapped up Mike Grundy in a choke and got him out of there under a minute. But I feel like his win condition for this fight is Pierce making a mistake and being defensively irresponsible. Now, it's not to say that he hasn't. We've seen fights with him where he just runs into trouble, like Lozon. You know, he leaves his neck out there, but he's never been choked out. He's lost by submission twice. It was very early in his career. One's a 27-second submission loss. One's a toe hold loss in the first 3 minutes. This is very early in his career. I do feel like his cardio is a huge weapon. I feel like he's got a clear advantage on the feet. I don't see Amirkhani getting him out of there in the first, and I do think Pierce can just grind him up against the cage, wear him out near the end of the first, get him out of there in the second. I'm on Pierce round 2 KO. It's plus 850 on pretty much all the books you have. If you look at it, very little difference in these prices, but give me Pierce to get Amirkhani out of there, plus 850. If you like him round 3, that's fine. To me, I don't think Amirkhani lasts 10 minutes. So I could make a compelling case for Pierce round 1 at the end of round 1 if this thing hits the mats the first 2-3 minutes. I just don't think Amirkhani is really going to be able to do much on his feet in this fight. So I like Pierce. He's a great prospect. I think he's got a good future. He's so much fun to watch. And, you know, and if you like Uncle Weezy, that's Weezy's guy. And you're not root for Weezy's guy here. So give me Pierce round 2 KO. And now let's get to some of the goofier ones that I like here. I do not have a Yambags play yet. You know, you never know when enlightenment strikes. So maybe by tomorrow's happy hour, I will have one. But there's 2 props that are sticking out at me that are incredibly interesting value for what they pay. So I'm going to start with Mason Jones and Ludovic Klein. I'm big on Jones in this fight. I have only on track bet I have right now actually is a parlay with Jones and Diakese. I think they have really favorable matchups here. So I've been looking at Jones round 3 since the jump. I just, you know, he's a pressure fighter. I won't break this one down too much, but we've seen Klein struggle with fighters that pressure. We saw Nate Landwehr do this to him, and he got him out of there in the 3rd round with a submission. I can see Jones pressure. He has stated he wants to knock Klein out. Klein has never been knocked out, but I do feel like that's on the table. So I'm on the round 3 prop at plus 800 on DraftKings or 900 on DraftKings. But, and like, this is something I'd been eyeing up, but I don't want to take full credit since Kyle Marley was talking about this earlier. Shout out to Kyle Marley. I don't think he watches the show, but I won't take full credit for this. It is something I was eyeing up. Mason Jones round 3 submission is plus 4,500 on DraftKings. It's plus 4,000 on a lot of other books. With Klein's cardio issues and the way Jones will pressure him, and the fact that Jones does have 2 submissions, they're very early in his career, but he does have a couple of subs. But the fact that Klein has been subbed in 50% of his losses, and that he gets tired, and that he's, you know, if you look at the way he throws, you know, everything's a kill shot, like these high kicks, everything he's throwing is high energy output. So I think there's going to be a tremendous energy disparity in the 3rd round. I think that neck's there for the take, and I think takedowns are going to be there all day for Jones if he wants them. And I think at plus 4,500, that sub is just sexy. So give me a poke on Mason Jones round 3 sub plus 4,500. but I am playing the round 3 prop at plus 900. I do think round 3 KO definitely on the table here. And now let's get to the last ridiculous prop that I came up with. Charles Johnson against Makayev. So I like the Johnson side here. I admit that part of it is a numbers play, but really part of it is we just don't know a lot about Makayev at this point. I don't know what you take away from his win against Durden. He won so quick, and Durden's, you know, he's okay, but he just got blitzed and he got subbed. So I don't know what you take away from that win for me on the Makayev side. Now, with Energy, one thing I know about this guy is he's got great cardio. His stand-up's good. It's his takedown defense that we're going to learn a lot in this fight. I mean, honestly, if he gets taken down in the first minute, that minus 500 on Makayev might look like a steal. But I'm going to say that it doesn't happen as easy as Makayev thinks it will. And I think Johnson can keep this on the feet. He can grind them, at least get him into the deeper waters, give him his first true test. Initially, I had looked at this round 3 decision combo play that DraftKings offers. It's plus 600 for Johnson. I don't think you're getting a big boost from that or his money line. But if you ever watch the show I'm doing, you probably know where I'm going with this. This Johnson round 3 KO plus 4,000 on FanDuel is very interesting to me. His last fight against Mota, he has a round 5 knockout. He had a round 4 knockout before that. This guy has power that carries late in the fights. He knows how to wear you out. I could make a case he's down 2-0 going in the third and would need a finish. I could make a case that it's 1-1. But I could make a case that he's going to be the fresher fighter. He's proven that he has cardio and his power carries. Could he get a knockout in the third? I really believe he can. And I think Makayev's a great prospect. I'm getting some serious Victor Henry Barcelos vibes about this fight. It's an instinctual thing on my end, but yeah, give me the poke on Charles Johnson round 3 KO plus 4,000 odds. That is it for the 7 props I've found. I mean, there's in the distance props that I like Herbert fight to end in KO, but I'm just trying to give you the ones that pay at least that plus 700 and up range for the show. So if you had fun watching this, please leave your comments, like, and subscribe. We do appreciate you here at the MMA Engine. And good luck this week, man. I hit 1 last week with the Algeo round 2. Maybe I can hit 7 this week. Let's go, guys. Take care.